Let's continue with cost curves. So we were just talking about AFC, not valuable. AVC, going to be valuable. Here they are again. Here's AFC, remember it's the big slope down. And here's AVC, the big slope, and then up, the check mark. All right, so what happens when we draw ATC, average total cost? Now, do you remember that average total cost equals average fixed cost plus average variable cost? Let me say that again really slowly. ATC, average total cost, equals AFC, fixed cost, plus AVC, variable cost. That's not new. I mean, write it down if you want, but here's what it looks like graphically. You've got, magic board, you've got one graph going down like this, and another one going check mark. So ATC is going to be going down, and then it's going to start to go up because AVC is going up, but at a slower rate because it's the sum of AVC and AFC. Ooh, I'm going to use two fingers. And you can see that AVC comes down, AFC goes down, AVC starts to go up, but AFC keeps going down, so ATC goes up but at a slower rate. Now the one I drew here is actually pretty good, so I'm going to use it, and I'll talk about that what I just said. Now again, the check mark thing. Really they're U-shapes, but for AP we're going to do them as check marks so we have a definitive low point. That really matters soon, actually. All right, so here's my pretty good graph. Now I got rid of AFC because it's irrelevant, and I don't want to build this up too much. Will you ever draw AFC? Probably not. You might read it, but again, it just goes down all the time, so it's not an interesting function. These, however, are interesting because they have a low point. So you see there's AVC, checkmark goes up, and then you see ATC, which is higher. Why is it higher? Because it's got AFC built into it. But as AFC goes down, ATC, the sum of these two, goes up at a slower rate, and that's why they narrow. Now that's pretty technical, drawing them that way. Generally, the two checkmark system would be good, with AVC's low point slightly ahead on the graph, okay? All right, so that's how we draw that. Again, maybe you can watch this again if that didn't make sense, and eventually I'll be back and we'll go over this, but that is how you draw that. Now, finally, marginal cost. Remember we had the throw-in video there talking about marginal cost. That's each additional unit. Marginal cost is the magic one. Just like all the other math we've done, it's where we get that extra unit. We really want to know that. Now, what happens with marginal cost? Well, let's think about what's going on with these. In fact, let's take a look. These are both going down. What makes an average go down? Well, let's talk about your grade point average. How could we lower your grade point average? Well, have your teacher out for like a month and still give you the same test. That'll make your grade point average go down. Okay, not funny. If you get lower grades. Remember, your grade point average is an average. So let's say you have a perfect 4.0. Some of you have higher, I know, but let's throw out the extra 100 points. Let's say you have a 4.0, and then you get a B in a class. It just lowered your average a little bit. So what does it mean about these two curves if they're going down? It must mean that each additional unit is lower, 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 and it is. So marginal cost starts by falling a little, but then it's going to go up. And it's going to go up fast because that's the only way for an average to go up. If you are looking at a 3.8 right now, okay, that's still a good grade point average, but if you have a 3.8, the only way to make a 3.8 go up is to get like 4 points, or in this class, get a 5 point, okay? Get your extra honor points. So averages go up when each additional unit is higher, okay? Use baseball real fast. Batting average, that's a big deal in baseball. Let's say you're a 333 hitter. You're 2 for 6. That's 333. And you come up one more time, you don't get a hit, your average just went down. If I thought about this more, I would tell you what 2 out of 7 is, but I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see, 1-7, that's like 300. Okay, so now, what if you get a hit? Now you're 4 for 7, that's more than 333. Okay, so your average goes up. So whatever the next unit, the margin unit is, that's going to do to your curves. Now, how do you draw MC then? You draw it coming down, and then it goes up, and it intersects these two curves at their low point. Take a second and draw that. I don't know if you draw an AT and AVC, but I'm going to hold this up for a sec. Now again, the check mark's important because you've got to draw MC through the low point. And they love to ask, what's true about marginal cost? It intersects ATC at its low point. What's true about marginal cost? It intersects AVC at its low point. Now, why is that? Because these are averages, And the only way for an average to go down is if the marginal cost is below it, each additional unit. And the only way for these to go up is if the marginal unit is above it. So here AVC is falling because marginal cost is below it. Here they're equal, and now because each additional unit is higher, it's raising the average. ATC, here it's falling because marginal cost is below it. Now marginal cost is rising, don't get me wrong. It's like you're getting better grades, but you still haven't beaten your average. Here they're equal, and now finally MC is higher. It's like higher grades, that's raising the average. Okay, now I'm going to make that point over and over and over because AP makes that point all the time. And you're going to have to know what I just said about the low point. That's also why I do the check mark. Now to prove to you that this isn't hard, I have a piece of scrap paper from the other day that was S-tax. This is blank, but it's bled through. I'm going to use my orange marker. I'm going to draw this pretty fast, okay? Now what I'm going to do is go with the axes. So you could do that. Sorry, magic board. Price quantity. And then I'm going to draw MC first. And then I'll go check mark, and I'll have a perfect graph drawn. And we're going to do this over and over and over. This is the cost curves. This is it. So like if you remember ADAS, oh man, that's complicated and there's Keynes. No, this is it. This is the big graph and this is how you draw it. Okay, now there'll only be one slight variation that we'll get into when we do like the revenue side, but otherwise, this is it. All right, so how fast can I do this? How fast can you do it? Here we go. Okay, go. Axes, I'm going to write out price. I'm going to write out quantity. I'm going to draw MC first. MC, and then I'm going to go check mark AVC, and then I'm going to go check mark ATC. Let's see how I did. Hey, not bad. Now, yeah, these probably ought to be getting closer to one another. I'll admit that could have been better. But how did I do hitting the low point? Really good. So on the AP test, hey, I got credit there because I didn't try to draw the U and then miss. Okay, so draw it as a check mark. And again, MC intersects the total cost curve and the variable cost curve, the average ones, at their low point. That's like trivia, and it's important for how to draw this. Okay, now that's a lot of blah, 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 I know. We're getting to the point now where I'm going to add in the revenue side, and then some magic will happen with this graph. But you have to be able to draw these graphs. This is really, really important, okay? So I'm going to suggest you guys watch these again and draw them a little bit, and that should be valuable. Okay, see ya.